Broken T Society, Parker McLachlin here. You may also know me as the Short Game Chef. I've got Casey with the Golfer's Journal. We're gonna work on hitting some low spinners, see if we can't give him the right recipe to get the little check on it.
The one everyone wants.
The one that everybody wants. All right, so show me what you would do normally to what you feel like you would hit a low spinner.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put this ball back in my stance. I'll probably stand a little closer to it.
Okay.
Back in the stance, and I'm really trying to work. I give it a little hinge, and I'm really trying to work down and left and hold that face open.
Let's see how it works out.
Open face for sure.
Okay.
That had 0 spin, but it was clipped nicely.
I love the self-deprecating commentary.
It was like it was a nice shot actually, but 0 spin. All right.
A little more spin there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your path gets going out left.
Yes.
Right? I think that it can be good, but it also makes it way more difficult than it needs to be.
Because conventional wisdom is you put that cut spin on it, you come down on it steep.
Right.
You're gonna get that thing ripping backwards, right?
And you don't necessarily need to do that, I don't think. But yeah, that would be sort of what's out there currently.
That's not the modern short game.
That's not really the modern short game. Yeah. So and you spent a bit of time with us yesterday watching Keith hit these low spinners, right? Off of like lies that were way worse than this.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway observing some of that yesterday and his low spinners?
Well, one was that there's 0 shaft lean at address or impact, right? So I don't need to lead the handle.
Right.
And 2, I think, was the acceleration. So
how fast he was going through.
And one thing you talked about was acceleration's relative, right? So if I take this back, and I've got kind of a quicker tempo to begin with.
Yep.
If I take this back like this, I have to go twice as fast to actually accelerate.
And then where's the ball going?
Whereas like a guy like Keith or most of the guys on tour, what's in vogue right now is this sort of almost kind of lazy, this lazy tempo, lazy back, and letting the ball, sort of gravity do its thing, dropping into the ball. As
long as we're working to accelerate on the way through into impact, that's what the ball's going to respond to.
Sure.
So again, if you're going fast on the backswing, you better speed up to get to the ball, right? If you want to put spin on it. Or if you're, like you said, a little bit more lazy type of a tempo, then you can accelerate just enough to get this thing grabbing on the face, and then it actually brings the flight down without us having to lean the shaft forward, right? Because I think what you said, you heard Keith speak yesterday, the more that his path works out, the more that shaft is going to be leaning forward,
and more lefties coming.
More lefties coming,
right?
Which is sort of what we see with you. Path goes out to in, shaft feels like it's leaning forward. Sometimes the ball may come out with some spin, but most of the time it's going to be just coming out low and it's not really going to have a chance to grab.
Sure.
What we'd like to do is be able to find a way for you to generate the ball grabbing on the face, the spin happening, right? And the excess in spin is going to actually lower the ball flight, not necessarily the handle going forward.
Got it.
To lower the ball flight. That's sort of how the modern player's doing it these days.
This is like physics 101. Duh.
I did not do well in physics 101, but I did do good around the greens.
Yeah, I did physics twice in high school. All right.
So let's manage that tempo just a little bit.
Okay.
Let's pay attention to shaft lean.
What about ball position setup?
You don't need to put it back in your stance, really. I mean, if you want to, you can just a fraction. That's fine.
Yep.
But again, your stance is already on the narrow side, which I love. So if you want to put it off your right toe or your right heel, that's fine.
Okay.
Face is a little open.
And then so we're going to try to get rid of this outward, upward, vertical. None of this.
Yeah, I don't want that.
We're going to work around, almost like a little draw shot, maybe.
Yes.
Because I saw Keith was putting almost draw spin on some of those, right?
And you saw him start with that club face wide open.
Wide up, like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't do that just yet.
Okay.
But maybe we can get there.
All right.
So manage that tempo.
I'm gonna hit a little soft draw.
Hit a little soft draw.
Lazy draw.
And get those hands a little higher. There you go. That was way better.
Hit a 10-yard draw.
Yeah, I mean, it helps maybe a little bit of wind, but like I actually liked how that ball came out, right? Like that had the look of what Keith's was doing yesterday, which was like top of the flagstick, right? With some like, you could see it spinning.
It's fluttering through the air.
Yes, exactly right, exactly right.
All right, so hands
and
are behind.
part of the low spinner is also how the ball is actually landing, right? So if you get the handle going forward and you're hitting down on it and your path is left, this ball's coming in like this. It doesn't matter how much spin it's got on it. It's not gonna have a chance to actually grab because it's coming in so low. So the low spinner, I feel like, as long as it's not going this way, right? The low spinners it still has a little bit of height to it so that it can land and the ball can actually grab.
So it's really a medium spinner.
It's sort of a medium spinner, right?
The low spinner's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, the low spinner used to be able to hit that with the old grooves, right? Once they changed the grooves, now all of a sudden it's more of a medium spinner. But you could see Keith's yesterday, no higher than like 4 or 5 feet up above the ground. But the way that it was almost working that way at the end, right? It wasn't like this way, it was like so that it had a chance to stop.
Okay.
One of the things I actually like to do with some people to help them actually grab more spin is do a thing called the pause drill. So you go to the top of your swing and you pause, and then you really rotate through it. It gives us the ability to deliver the most amount of speed.
Okay.
So let's do that.
So
you're gonna go to the top, you're gonna pause, watch the wrist conditions. That's better. Yep, and then from there, you're gonna actually hit it. Okay, so let's start again. You're going to top and pause. There she is.
That was the one.
That was way better.
Yeah.
So that's that low one, but no divot and no handle lean, right? That's that ball grabbing on the face, bringing the flight down.
It's just the wedge in the bounce in the proper position and speed at the right time.
Yep, yep.
And the speed is from here to here.
Correct.
Not
like going vertical,
Yes.
not getting long, and then having to slow down. So handles up, shaft neutral. There you go. Top and pause. Good. Even that is like a slight miss is much better. So give me like an actual, like a real pause, like where it's top and pause. Good. Go. There it is.
Yeah.
See that one? That was way better. So the whole point of that drill is to get you in a spot to where it's like, okay, I haven't really done anything to accumulate much ball speed. I get to the top, I pause, and then all of a sudden I can just rip through it, and that ball just starts grabbing on the face more.
Yeah.
To me, like that's a really good way. If you don't spin the ball at all, that's a good way to start learning how to spin it.
So one thing I'm noticing is that a lot of people want to hit this shot, the low medium spinner.
Yeah.
But when you watch really good players play nowadays, I don't see it as much. I mean, in certain use cases, but it almost seems like they enjoy or like the idea of controlled release more so.
Yep. And I would say that's a lot of what we do is that it's like the bounce, check, slight release, right? You got to have a little bit of spin to be able to control where it is that your ball is going to go. We obviously don't want it coming this way. We don't want the knuckleball that runs out. You don't have control of it. But it's not like players aren't hitting the bounce, spin back.
Right. Players
are hitting the bounce, check, trickle out.
Right.
That's really what players are doing. Because the more spin you put on it, you know, the excess spin you put on it, you're sort of having to add some variables. Guys are trying to take variables away to make it more efficient. Mm-hmm. Like I'd much rather be in that 4-foot circle and having the ball have a chance to go in versus like, man, I'm gonna hit the coolest shot ever with a bunch of spin, and
you have to hit your spot exactly.
You gotta hit your spot exactly. So even out of the bunker, guys will go down and loft, right? They'll go down to a 56 or a 52 degree and have this thing come out and roll like a putt. It's not always about being sexy, right? Yeah. It's about getting it in that circle or giving the ball a chance to go in. Hit me one with handle a little bit more back. Let's just see what happens.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
So sometimes like the opposite is true.
Counterintuitive.
It's so counterintuitive.
The handle back.
You're like, I want to hit this thing low with some spin. let me shove this shaft forward. When what I just did there was like actually bring the shaft back, and then all of a sudden this ball went, whoo.
Yep.
Sometimes it's counterintuitive, right? A lot of times good players like yourself, handle goes forward, what are they going to do? They're going to try to do that to it for some reason. So start with it back, and then sometimes you actually may work into it to actually then bring the ball flight down. So I mean, there's a lot of information there, but I'd say at the end of the day, the old adage of like, hey, you need to hit down on it, swing left, ball position back, handle forward to hit a low spinner, that stuff's gone.
Done.
No more.